Hey Colton, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics, your motion, and sort of break everything down frame by frame and go through everything and freeze it, draw some lines, and sort of get you to a spot that you're sort of utilizing everything. You know, you're doing really good at using your lower half. That's the biggest thing. That's something that you don't see a whole lot at kids your age. And so that's a really good thing. That's a good starting point. Now it's just a matter of just sort of a few other tweaks here and there, but we'll go through at each point and kind of go over everything. And so basically the biggest thing here is the initial setup. All right. So much of what we do here is going to dictate, you know, how we finish. All right. A lot of times, you know, something that we're doing wrong down here can be fixed back here. All right, so we just got to make sure that everything's set up good. You know, initially everything looks pretty good for you, but we'll go through and do our checks and make sure everything's good to go. All right, so once you start here, all right, you can see that head stays down over that back foot through your release. All right, really good to see. All right, your back hip is closed. All right, you didn't turn anything, you didn't move your posture, your hands are in a pretty good position. All right, so now everything that started is all pretty good. Okay, so now what we want to try to see is your hips start to go forward first, your hands to break out, and all this heel does just kind of stays closed, and just kind of drags behind your hips. All right, so as we sort of tick forward here, all right, you can see how everything's getting going good. All right, one thing that you're doing is you're staying back, you're staying balanced over the rubber, but you're not getting enough movement forward with your hips. All right, so if you draw sort of a box around your body here, you can see as this leg starts to go down, you don't really see a whole lot of movement outside that box until about right here. All right, ideally what we want to see is once this leg starts to go down, you know, you're just sort of walking forward with your hips. All right, so at this point here, you know, you're about maybe, you know, another 8 inches or a couple inches forward more. All right, so you just try to get those hips going a little bit sooner. That's just going to generate more torque, more angles, more velocity, and so that's just something to kind of work on. You can see how your leg is just kind of straight and just gets kind of straight for a while. All right, it's not really too bad, but it's just showing that you got it straight a little bit too early. All right, you didn't let it kind of stay closed and get those hips out farther. You're bending a little bit much in this back leg this way with your angle. You know, if we're going to see bend, we want to try to see sort of weight on the inside ball of your foot, but you want to try to see that knee sort of wanting to go down that way towards the ground instead of backing out. And that's just something that, you know, you can see it kind of turn out here a little bit at your foot strike. But just sort of getting that in that position more. That's just sort of the same theme as your hips are too slow. You know, once you sort of speed up those hips, that knee's going to have to do that initially. So that's just something to sort of key on and work on. And so at your foot strike, so once that front foot first hits the ground, which looks like it's about somewhere between those two frames, we'll call it this one. All right, your lower half looks really good, like I said before. All right, this is let's go back one frame. This is a really good spot for your hips to be. All right, the one sort of tweak, so you can see this glove is sort of curled in. Try to get that glove out over that front foot a little bit more. It doesn't have to be perfectly out there, but just try to get it out over that front foot a little bit more. That's just going to help you stay closed, get out a little bit farther through your release point. All right, so as you start to rotate, you know, you have pretty good torque here. All right, so torque is your hip starting to turn towards the batter before that upper body. So you can see everything's, you know, the hips are starting to turn first, and you can see this glove collapse tucked right in against your chest. And so what that's going to show, that's sort of causes you, is if we're looking at you from the front, you can see everything sort of start bending out towards that first base side. So you lose a little bit of power there. And so to get that glove closed a little bit longer, if you get it out here, right here, and then you just rotate everything down, you know, your chest and everything towards your glove, that's going to keep you on line a little bit more. That's going to keep you closed. And so, you know, right through here, that glove's going to be on over that front foot. All right. through your release point. So right there's your release. All right, it's not too bad. You can see how your head. We'll go back one frame here. Right there, you can see your head's back a little bit back behind that front foot. We always want to try to see it, you know, a little bit more out over that front foot. And again, that's just that little leak, that little early leak from that left side is going to cause you to sort of release a little bit early. You know, you got a good straight back leg, which is good to see. Now we just want to try to see you get out a little bit more over that front leg, and that's going to come from that glove. It doesn't seem like it's a whole lot, but it's going to come from keeping that glove closed, getting that out a little bit farther, and keeping it out there so you can drive a little bit more through that back leg. But you got 2 legs on the ground. You know, you're really finishing well. And again, it's a really solid sort of basis for you. Everything's pretty good. You know, just sort of those few little tweaks. But again, I mean, everything's online. You got a good foundation for everything. So once that strength comes, you know, it's going to come easy for you. So it's pretty solid. Nice job, man. Thanks for making it out to camp. Hopefully you had a great time. Good luck this season, and hopefully we'll see you with ABC.